In the beginning of the film, we see Larissa and her husband. There was a lot of love between them. After many years of marriage, they planned their anniversary. This time they were going to do a world tour. Larissa was very excited. She really liked her husband's company. Larissa's husband also loved her a lot. They travel a lot by flight. And here we come to know a strange habit of Larissa. Larissa had a phobia of tying a belt. She could not tie a belt in a car or a plane. Even today she did not tie a belt. And she started enjoying this journey with her husband's shoulder. First of all, the plane flew very smoothly. The journey was also good. The weather was also good. But they did not know that there could be something bad between so many good things. During the journey, this plane suddenly shook badly. Larissa also woke up from her sleep. She looked outside. A jet plane was about to collide with their plane. Before this, Larissa could think of something. The second plane collided with their plane and was divided into two parts. Along with that plane, their plane's engine was also destroyed. It caught fire and the plane started damaging fast. The plane's pressure was also damaged. The air hostess in the plane also started flying. And because Larissa also did not tie a seatbelt, she also flew away from there in the air pressure. Although she tried to stabilize herself, but everything was in vain. After putting a lot of effort, she managed to hold a seat of this broken plane with great difficulty. At this time, Larissa was very scared. She somehow wanted to go ahead and sit with her husband. But suddenly, there was a powerful blast in the back of the plane. That last part crashed and fell to the ground. Even though the last part fell down, the next part of the plane, in which Larissa was at that time, was flying fast in the air. Larissa did not care about anything. She was just coming forward to go to her husband. Everyone present here was feeling that they would die now. Suddenly, the air pressure came and Larissa flew forward. Before she went too far, her husband tried to catch her and save her. But the air pressure was so high that Larissa's husband was able to hold her hand for a few seconds. And finally, the hands of both of them were separated from each other. This flying plane also fell down and crashed. The part in which Larissa's husband was left, he had fallen down completely. In the part where Larissa was, that part was still in the air and was slowly going down. Anyone at this time would only think about his death. But Larissa had her husband in her mind. She had to save her life and meet her husband. With great difficulty, she sat on the seat and tied the belt. What happened after that? She was not conscious. The scene was cut. We were shown a scene after a while, where this time Larissa's chair is lying in the middle of the jungle. The plane has crashed badly. Many parts of the plane were not near her. After coming to her senses completely, she remembered that a very big plane crash had happened to her. As soon as she remembered this, she felt a severe pain in her leg. When she looked down, her leg was in a bad condition. A very big iron rod was stabbed in her leg. And this is really a very creepy scene. Her leg is in such a bad condition that it is not visible. Larissa also knew that she could not walk in this condition. She was very brave and pulled the rod out of her leg with both hands. Although this time her life was gone. With her shrieks, the whole jungle was echoed. As soon as the rod came out, blood started flowing fast. To stop the blood, she tore her skirt and tied it. But even this small bandage was not able to control the flowing blood. To save herself, she had to get up and move forward. She tried to get up, but she could not get up in so much pain. She hoped that people would have come here to rescue her by now. That's why she started calling for help. But unfortunately, no one had reached here yet. She got up and saw a shadow behind someone. When she went near, she saw a girl. Seeing her, she lost hope. But when she went near and touched the girl, she was dead. Knowing this, all her courage began to break. In a state of pain, Larissa fainted. After the scene was cut, we were shown the Russian journal, who has received news of 2 plane crashes. And they have also started the rescue operation. People have started to rescue in the jungle. But no one has reached Larissa yet. Here we saw Larissa, who had woken up due to mosquito bite. As soon as she woke up, the sound of a helicopter echoed in her ears. And she understood that the rescue team has arrived for the operation. Hoping to survive, she decided to move forward. She took off her scarf from her dead body and started moving forward in the direction of the helicopter's sound. Fortunately, she reached a field in the middle of the jungle, from where the helicopter people could see her. She tried to indicate the helicopter by shaking her scarf. But unfortunately, the pilots could not see her. She did not give up and started walking again in the direction of the helicopter. It was so difficult for her to walk that no one could even think. She was in a bad condition due to weakness. While walking, she met a teddy bear. She thought this teddy bear looked like a treasure. And why? We will find out right now. She took off her badge from the teddy bear and straightened her pin. After that, rubbing the pin hard. She placed it on a leaf. This pin and leaf worked like a compass. This trick was taught to her by her husband when he went camping. And today, this trick was saving her life. The direction of this leaf finally took her to a river, in which clean drinking water was coming. Water was very important for survival. She first filled her mouth with water and washed her face. And after that, she filled a plastic bag with a lot of water. After filling this water, she went back to the place where her plane crashed. Here, she took out the coat of the dead woman, because it was very cold. After that, she picked up a stick from nearby and tied her bag with that stick. With the help of this stick, she was able to move ahead. She was moving ahead very carefully, facing the dangers. There were a lot of dangers on the way, because of which she had to be very careful. After many hours of travel, she was facing all the dangers. While running, she finally reached an open field outside the jungle. But she didn't know that this place was more dangerous than the jungle itself, because this place was a swamp, which immediately pulled Larissa inside. Larissa started to suffer. To get out, she grabbed the ground. But the ground here was also sticky. Before the swamp could pull her inside, Larissa, using all her strength, went outside and grabbed a branch of a tree, which was at least strong enough to bear the weight of Larissa. And with the help of that, Larissa came out. At this time, all her strength was gone. She didn't know. As soon as she came out, she fell asleep. After hours, when she regained consciousness, she saw that this place was very dangerous. She immediately got up from here and moved ahead to save her life. She now took the mountain road. She hoped that when she reached the top, she would definitely find someone. Despite the wounds on her feet, while hurting herself, she kept climbing up. But unfortunately, as soon as she reached the top, her feet started shaking, and she fell down again. At this time, all her hopes were broken. If she wanted, she wouldn't have gotten up from here. But then, in her mind, all the beautiful moments she spent with her husband, she started remembering. She never thought that her honeymoon trip would become so dangerous. Her husband would get separated from her on this trip. As soon as she thought this, she decided to find her husband. And in this decision, she gave him so much courage that not only did he stand up, but he also climbed up the mountain. There was a little light here. There was a little peace. He thought that he would rest for a while. But maybe he wasn't in his destiny. Because in front of him, a hungry tigress was looking for her prey. Larissa thought that she would pass by. But unfortunately, before she left, that tigress saw her. As soon as she was looking for her prey, as soon as she saw her, this tigress started running after Larissa. And to save herself, Larissa had to run fast. She had a wound on her leg. She was not able to run at full speed, while the tigress was running at full speed. As soon as the distance between Larissa and her decreased, then Larissa thought, now her life is over. But fate wanted something else. There was a pit ahead. While running, Larissa stumbled and fell into the pit. In the pit, the tigress left her. As soon as the tigress left, she came out of the pit and started climbing to the other side. It was a high mountain. When she reached the edge, she was not happy, because on the other side of the mountain, she could see the part of the plain where her husband was. In the excitement of meeting her husband, she did not think anything. She started climbing down the mountain. In the cold river water, she kept her feet. But crossing the river was not as easy as she thought. As soon as the river became deep, the flow of the water took her out. And the icy water frozen all her blood. With courage, she somehow caught the stone and escaped the flow of the water. But it was difficult for her to move forward. While swimming, while catching things, she reached the edge, where the plain was. She was hoping to see her husband. But there was a dangerous scene here. She saw a corpse, which was almost rotten, because 3 days had passed. It was a pilot's corpse. She found an emergency gun near the deck. It was a flare gun. It had 2 bullets. To save her life, with courage, she fired 1 bullet. But unfortunately, there was no one here. She decided to fire the 2nd bullet, where she was hoping to see someone. While moving forward, something hit her feet. It was her husband's bag, in which her husband had made many sketches for her. She was hoping to see Kieran. She found out that her husband was nearby. First she kept looking at these pictures. Then she left everything and started looking for her husband. Finally she found her husband. Far away. He was sitting on a plain chair. As soon as she hugged him, there were tears in her eyes. She felt that peace, which she hadn't seen for 3 days. She quickly took out her wedding ring and put it on his hand. They both relaxed and slept here. After a while, when Larissa woke up, she found out that